Anna, come on in with your questions. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We have a very, 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 very special guest coming on to talk to us from the Erie County Health Department today. Her name is Sadia, and we are going to talk everything flowers. We're going to answer any questions that you have. If we cannot answer the questions right now, we'll take those questions away and try and get back to you. DJ Tony, come on in. Vicky, come on in. Everybody, come on in. 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 We're going to start this out a little bit different. We're going to start out with some jazzy today. This is Jazzy Stutter, everybody. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in. This is the Vet Green Show.
Thinking it's crazy, babe, that you've been deceiving me. Did you really go around thinking I won't know? Your vibes are sneaky, babe. Can't believe you're trying me. I can see you're guilty because your actions show. I see it in how you move, your persona, your attitude. All that you're doing is making problems grow. If you gon' keep playing me and doing the same old things, maybe it's time for me to think I should go. So I can tell you're lying, or are you too comfortable? Are you even trying? Cause when you reply, I can tell you're lying, or are you too comfortable? Are you even trying? Cause when you reply, play the same old games, and boy, you really know you changed. When did we become enemies? I'm noticing you acting strange. I won't play the same old games, and boy, you really know you changed. When did we become enemies? I'm noticing you acting strange. You've had time to think.
I got these goals and these dreams. I know I can't live without them. That means I gotta go get it. I know a lot of people, they doubt it. Gotta prove them wrong. Gotta prove them all wrong. Gotta prove them wrong. Gotta prove them all wrong. Gotta prove them wrong. Gotta prove them all wrong. Gotta prove them wrong. Yeah, I'm working 9 to 5 this 9 to 5 don't work for me. I gotta find my way about this ain't how it's supposed to be. Feel like I'm settling for less, that's why I gotta leave. They may not understand it, it's not for them to see. Cause it's my vision and it's not yours, no. And you won't get it until reverse rolls around and around. I put my dreams on hold, you tell me how that sounds. I wish my dreams
come on in, everybody, come on in, come on in.
Gonna hold me down while I chase these dreams and know my goals. Chase these dreams and know my goals. When I say hold me down, I mean support. And when I say support, that don't always mean financially. Support can be from anybody and everybody. It's just you let me know that you're in my corner. It's simple. I got these goals and these dreams. I know I can't live.
Grandest of risings, everybody, come on in, come on in, come on in. We have a very, 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 very special guest coming on today to talk to us about flowers. Yeah, we have to name it that because we are out here in this digital media world on YouTube and Facebook, and we don't want to be shut down, but we do, on a serious note, want to provide guidance. And because there's a lot of questions that I had myself as far as flower use, because as someone who has been able to manage her own depression using flowers and things of that nature, I found some benefits. So I don't know if you are that person that may have found some benefits, or you're like, I'm against it, because I too have grown up thinking that it was just so bad, not even realizing that there's a lot of beneficial uses to it. Even though I remember growing up hearing that cancer, like they gave it to cancer patients. But again, growing up, you're told that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. So some of you may have those reservations and think, I'd rather just pop a pill rather than, collect some flowers and actually find some benefits on that. So we're going to talk about all of that today. So come on in, everybody, share this live. We have Sadia coming in. She's from the ERIE County Health Department. I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself. I'm going to bring you up, Sadia. Thank you so much for coming on today. Welcome up. Grand rising to you.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
I am doing wonderful, and I love the backdrop. I love it.
It's just my office, my plants, and all of that.
It's so fitting for today's. And aren't plants? Do you talk to your plants?
I do actually talk to my plants. It's fun,
right? I feel like there are people, when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing that I do. I have my plants in the window, and one of them is my mom. I call her mom. I get up in the morning and I sing to them, Grand Rising, because if you talk to them, I found that they grow. They really do. Because they're living.
Yeah, and you take care of them. The more you take care of them, the bigger they grow and the better they look. It's fantastic.
It really is. It really is. So Sadia, welcome again. Grand rising to you, Teresa, and grand rising, everybody. This is the Vet Green Show. So I'm going to go ahead and release the mic and let Sadia introduce herself and just give them a little background on who you are and who you represent today.
Thank you so much. I'm Sadia Rifa. I am a public health educator at the ERIE County Department of Health at the Office of Harm Reduction. And I focus on substance use disorders, opioids, cannabis. I most of the time design and implement educational initiatives surrounding those topics. I conduct training on opioid overdose prevention and Narcan training, and I lead the cannabis education efforts through the county. My background includes a bachelor's and a master's in public health, and I have experience in harm reduction, health education, and public outreach.
Now, remind the listeners, for those of you who have not seen any of the episodes I did about the opioid crisis and the big F word, that's hurting so many demographics, it doesn't even matter. Explain to them what harm reduction is, and then we'll go right into it, just so that everyone remembers what harm reduction is and why it's so important to understand what this is, because it totally changes the way we look at addiction.
100%. Harm reduction is, the way I explain it is meeting people where they're at. It does not matter how high they're or how low they are in life, or wherever they are in whatever situation they might be. Harm reduction tries to meet people where they're at. That means when it comes to substance use disorders, harm reduction does not force people into treatment or recovery. It provides somebody, if somebody is ready for treatment recovery, harm reduction definitely helps with that. But if someone is not ready, we know that if someone is not ready and if it's not on their own accord, recovery doesn't really work that well because you need to want it, right? So harm reduction provides the knowledge, the tools, and the education, the important information that they need to practice their behavior in a safe and healthy manner. We know that substance use is not 100% safe behavior, so harm reduction is here to provide the information so people and folks can make those informed choices about their behaviors.
Now, rolling into some of those choices, like I said, I am someone who has been able to manage I was diagnosed with severe chronic depression and there's probably some bipolar. There's different diagnoses. And I've been at one time, I was on different medication for these diagnoses that the doctors gave me. But I found, there's different side effects that I did not like. So for me, the flower works for me, but a lot of people that may not be beneficial for them. So I want to first start with some of the laws, because I know a lot of people, especially depending on how old you are, I'm going to say, because I am a person of a particular age, I grew up and this was bad. Like it was literally against the law. My grandkids is going to be something different. So explain to us a little bit about some of these laws, if you don't mind, Sadia.
Yeah, of course. When I tried, so the laws are a little difficult to understand because it's very new. It recently got legalized for recreational use in New York State. So when I go to explain the laws, I divide them into what's legal versus what's illegal. So when we're talking about legal, people who are over 21 and older, 21 and older, they can have up to 3 ounces of regular cannabis and 24 grams of concentrated cannabis on them. And when I say concentrated cannabis, I mean edibles, oils, the wax, those stuff. People can use cannabis at home or in most places where smoking tobacco is allowed. People who are 21 and older can give cannabis to another adult who is also 21 and older, as long as there's no money involved. If they get paid for it, that is considered a sale, and for sale, you need a license from the Office of Cannabis Management. Office of Cannabis Management is the New York State's Department of Cannabis Management, pretty much, and they regulate most of the cannabis things going on in the state. So you need a license from them in order to sell or produce or grow cannabis. But there is an exception. People can grow up to 6 cannabis plants at their home without a permit. And of those 6, 3 can be mature and 3 can be immature. By mature plants, I mean something that is producing yield. People can also, for a household with multiple adults, they can have a maximum of 12 cannabis plants without a permit. Any more than that, you'd have to get a permit from the Office of Cannabis Management. So that's what's legal, right? And now I'm going to talk about what's illegal and what's not safe. Of course, it's illegal because it's not safe. First off, it is illegal to use cannabis in a car, in a private business, or anywhere smoking tobacco is prohibited. In a car, when I say car, it means while driving. It also means you cannot smoke in a parked car. You cannot park your car on the side of a street.
So similar to alcohol use.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of mirrored that.
It is also illegal to cross state borders with cannabis. It is illegal to grow any more than that 6 or 12 without a permit. It is illegal to sell or distribute cannabis without a license. And driving, I put a lot of importance and a lot of focus on this. Driving under the influence of cannabis is completely illegal, and it is very unsafe. It's not safe at all.
Yeah. It's like driving drunk, everybody.
Yes, it is very similar to driving drunk, and cannabis stays in your system for a little bit. It's not very quick. So driving under the influence is completely illegal and not safe at all. Federally, cannabis use still remains illegal. So we still federally it is not legal yet. That is all. That is also why it restricts some of the research and development that happens around cannabis. But it is increasing because federally they're trying to reschedule cannabis from a Control 1 to a Control 3 or a Control 4 substance. Controlled substances are basically narcotics and medications that need extra supervision or extra what do I say? Extra, I would say, yeah, supervision, right?
So are they trying to say that this would need extra supervision? Is that what they're
It was a controlled substance 1. That is the highest dangerous medication that is out there. Like morphine is a controlled substance 1. But now that research and development shows that it is not dangerous, it is not that dangerous. There are some dangers to it. There are some benefits to it, but it is not as dangerous as
it's
morphine.
not an opioid.
It is not an opioid. So therefore they're trying to reschedule it so that people can have better access, so that people can use it for research, for development, for medicational purposes, for any kind of reasons that they choose to use cannabis for.
I did not realize that it was. Did anybody out there, and while we're pausing for a moment, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Did anyone out there realize that it was scheduled so high? I did not realize that, Sadia.
Yeah,
I like how you said Sadia.
It's okay. One other thing that is prohibited or surrounding cannabis, cannabis consumption is prohibited in all New York State parks and outdoor public spaces. So it cannot be consumed on federal lands. That includes airspace, national parks, forests, and also New York State parks. So those are the laws. That's how I explain what's legal and what's illegal, and that makes it a little easier to understand.
Okay. Now, I know there's some people out here thinking, oh, I was just smoking a joint in the park. Am I going to get arrested? Yeah, you might.
There might be some legal consequences for that.
Yeah, you might. But go ahead, Sadia.
Yes. So those are the laws, but one thing I want to reiterate is that cannabis has some benefits. There are medical uses for cannabis. Cannabis is also not 100% safe. So our goal here at the Department of Health is to share the education, share the information so that people can make informed choices. One of the dangers of cannabis is it can negatively impact brain development if people start using cannabis at a very young age. Therefore, it is said that adolescents start using cannabis after a certain age, like after their adolescence period is over. The reason behind that is our body naturally produces some chemicals similar to THC and CBD. Those are the same chemicals that are present in cannabis plant. Now, these chemicals can go and bind to receptors in the brain. Now, these receptors are in those places in the areas of brain that are responsible for forming new connections, learning, communication, memory, problem-solving abilities, all of that. Because of that, it is said that start after the period of adolescence so that it does not hamper any learning abilities, any communication, emotions, all of that. THC and CBD can interfere with the brain's ability to form new connections sometimes. As a result, they can impact learning, communication, memory, and problem-solving abilities. It is not clear, or it is not clearly entirely clear how severe these effects can be, or if they can be reversed. At an older age, most of the time, if it starts after cannabis use is stopped, or at that point, these effects go away. But at a younger age, they seem to last for a long time. Cannabis can also cause paranoia and hallucinations. It is called cannabis-induced psychosis. And people who have a family history of psychotic disorders like schizophrenia are highly at risk for developing these conditions. We don't always know. Most of the time, they subside once cannabis use is stopped. But in some cases, people with those family history, with genetic predisposition, for them, the psychosis might stay for a longer time, and it might be permanent. Therefore, it is recommended that people don't start at a young age.
Yeah, or even if and I am not a medical doctor, but I do know that if you are already taking like antidepressants or anything like that, you really need to consult your doctor if you decide to use cannabis or any type of flowers like that, because the mixing could have adverse side effects and you don't want that to happen. So make sure, if you are someone who's thinking, if you're pondering the use of it, make sure you consult with the doctor. Please consult with the doctor, because it's already hallucinogen.
Mm-hmm.
So it could
Oh,
really have adverse effects on you. Now, it's one of the, as you were talking about, that it's not recommended for adolescents, but there are for children with certain sicknesses or illnesses, there are benefits of THC use that I've seen
mhm,
studies done on. So you really need to consult a doctor with that, because
definitely.
depending on your child, I mean, if your child doesn't have any illnesses, that makes sense. But if your child has any of those illnesses where it may be beneficial, again, consult with a doctor.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There are medications for epilepsy that is cannabis related. It's called Epidiolex. It has shown to, help a lot. But for certain conditions, these medications or these cannabis products help a lot. Now, that's why we encourage open conversations and
Mhm.
open consultations with professionals or with somebody who knows about the cannabis and how it affects the body, so that you can make informed choices, right? So that you can know how much it will affect you or how much it will not negatively affect you. That's why we encourage that you talk to your doctor if you're trying to, start using cannabis at a smaller age. If even at a older age, if you're trying to use cannabis, it is better to go the medical route. And for recreational purposes, we have to be careful, because edibles are dangerous, right? Edibles can take up to 2 hours to fully take effect. But most of us, we are used to smoking, which is much more instantaneous. Like, you
Mhm.
smoke and then it gives you an effect instantly. But for edibles, you have to wait a little while. So what happens is people don't realize that it is working, it's just taking a little bit. So what people would do is continue taking more edibles, thinking it's not working for them. And
Mhm.
since it's ingested, it is inside your body, it has nowhere to go. It will give the full effect of it. And that is why it's recommended that people start low and go slow with edibles. That is the slogan we use from New York State and from the Cannabis Management Office, and over here at the Department of Health, we use the slogan, start low, go slow. Start with a very low dose, 5 to 10 milligrams at most, and go very slow. Once after like 20-25 minutes, if you see that it's not affecting you, or you feel safe to consume more, consume 10 milligrams more, no more than that. Right. So that's why it is, because of the time that it
It
takes
takes a
for the.
while. And from
Yes.
a personal standpoint, and I've told this story on the show before, I had gotten a chocolate bar, and I mean,
Mhm.
I'm at my computer and I'm eating a chocolate bar, not thinking, not even looking at the amount that's in there. And before I knew it, I had taken 3 pieces. That's a lot.
That
That
is
was
a
like
lot.
30, no, it was 60 milligrams, because each piece was 20. Yeah, I had gotten so sick. I thought I was dying. It was horrible.
It's
Horrible
very
experience. Won't
scary.
touch it
It's
again.
very
Will not
scary
touch
too.
the, yeah, so be careful. Yes, like Sadia said, the edibles are you really need to be careful, especially with these kids. And now they package them as if they're Sour Patch Kids.
Yes.
That's another thing. So talk to some of the parents about what they should be looking for, or things that they should be concerned with, because I'm concerned that these kids are going to take them to school. They go in mommy's bag and she has some Sour Patch Kids in there. We
Hmm.
hear the stories now. They're passing them out in preschool. It's happening, everybody. So we do have to have some precautions as well, Sadia. So talk to us about what
Definitely.
we can be doing and what we need to be looking for here.
Hmm. We encourage that people stick to a regulated cannabis store. or a cannabis legalized dispensary, so that because the packaging that comes from those legalized dispensaries, they mention very clearly that it has cannabis inside it and how much cannabis, what products are inside it. And the products that we find at sticker shops, at the smoke shops, at the corner markets, those are most of the time not packaged as well. The packaging does not say that it is cannabis. So it looks like Sour Patch, like you were mentioning. And if a kid can see it, they can reach it, they can eat it, right? So that's why also we want people to stick with the regulated dispensaries. And even if they can't, there are certain reasons why people won't go to the regulated dispensaries, the prices and the accessibility of it, all of that. The recommendation is safe storage. Keep it locked, out of sight and out of reach, because like I said, they can, if a child can see it, they can reach it, they can eat it. Like
And
if
they're
I see a cannabis,
curious.
I'll probably eat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not look at the packaging. If the packaging has a little leaf in the corner, I'll probably overlook it. So that's why safe storage is very important. We ask people to, if they're getting it from a legalized dispensary, to keep it in a child-proof container, and the legalized dispensaries sell their products in child-proof containers. And we say that keep it away from other household items. There are like juices, drinks that are also infused with cannabis. For example, you keeping it in your fridge next to your orange juice bottle, and your child just goes and picks that bottle instead of the orange juice by accident. That can lead to poisoning. For children, cannabis poisoning is very real, and cannabis poisoning is very dangerous. There has been increased cases of children with cannabis poisoning in Western New York and in all of New York State because of the unsafe storage situation. We also say that keep it in the original packaging, because original packaging is childproof, and it says very well what's in it. So the accidental consumption, the risks of accidental consumption is very low if it is in in one of those packages. We also say that open conversations are very much encouraged. Talk to your family members, people who visit, caregivers, visitors, everybody. Have a conversation with them that I have cannabis at home. This is where I store it. If you are a babysitter and you're, taking care of my child while I'm gone, this is where the child should not go. Or if they go here, this is what you're supposed to do. Keep a list of all the products that you have, so that in case of an accidental poisoning, the Poison Control Center, operators will ask what they took, how much they took, so that they can suggest some of the precautions or some of the stuff that they can do to kind of help the child in that poisoning situation. So, in that case, if you have a list of all the products, you'd be able to say that this is what's missing, this is what they took, or this much they took. So that is important. Safe disposal is also important. If someone is not using it, they're disposing of it, just throwing it into the garbage is not safe, because we have pets at home, right? It is not
Yes.
safe.
And pets get into products.
Yes, like get into products all the time. One of my friends, actually, her cat ate one of the chocolate bars that their roommate had left lying around, and that cat had to be taken to the emergency room, and it was a lot of hassle. And the cat was a baby; it was so little, and therefore it was so scary. Right? Our pets are like our babies, so it's very scary. So don't just throw it in the garbage. The safer disposal recommendation is you grind up. If it's a flower, you grind it up into smaller pieces, very, very smaller pieces, and mix it into something so that it's unrecognizable and unusable. For example, coffee grounds or kitty litter, mix it with that so that it's not usable anymore. And then put it in a sealed container, like an empty yogurt cup, an empty plastic container, whatever you have lying around. Just seal it up and then throw it in the garbage, so that if your pets get into the garbage, if a child accidentally gets into the garbage, they are still safe. So those are the safer consumption, safer storage, and safer disposal situations that can keep people safe. We want people to have those open conversations and be careful around cannabis because it is not 100% safe thing. It has benefits to it. For example, medical cannabis, right? That
Mm-hmm.
takes me to the medical cannabis part where there are a lot of medical benefits to cannabis. You already talked about how it helps with severe depression, it helps with anxiety. There are other medical conditions like cancer, HIV, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's.
Dang,
There are,
arthritis.
yeah, there are a lot of benefits to this medication or to this substance. And in order to receive medical cannabis in New York State, you'd have to see a state registered professional. Not every doctor can prescribe cannabis to you. You'd have to see a state registered healthcare professional who has a certification to prescribe medical cannabis. And after the doctor evaluates you, you'll receive certification that you can receive medical cannabis. After that, you can take that certification to a legalized dispensary and buy the products. And legalized dispensaries have bud tenders, right? They are the people who are extremely knowledgeable about cannabis, what dose is good for you, what strain is good for what medical conditions. They
Mm-hmm.
can provide those education and provide the knowledge behind it, and then they can not prescribe, but they can recommend certain dosages, certain products, certain strains. So
Based on your needs. When you go in, if you have not gone into one, if you're just buying off the streets, I mean, that's fine because it can be pricey. But when you go in, Sadia, not to interrupt you, but just to explain, they really do ask you, okay, what brings you here? What brings you here? Well, I can't sleep. Like that's one of my issues. So, you may need this to help you with sleep or anxiety. Another one of my issues, you may need this. You may need different strands for different things. But when you go to a dispensary, at least you will get a better understanding that it's not a one size fits all, that you really have to find out what works for you and that there's really medical benefits to a lot of it. But you have to go into some of these dispensaries. Hey, bro Mike said, okay, but can this work for people with medical condition? It really can, bro Mike. Grand rising to you. It does. It does. And that's why I'm glad that Sadia is here because she can speak to that as well. And we're going to talk to one of the questions that I have for you is the older generation, like people in my age. I classify myself as the older generation because I come up in a generation where this was just bad. Like we were told that this was bad and that we should take, go ahead and take a Loratab instead, or push the oxycodone down your throat, stuff like that, or go ahead and take Valium. We were told those things were safer compared to this. So as it pertains to the older generation, what do we need to know about the recreational and medical cannabis use, Sadia?
yes,
And
with the
this is you,
recreation.
bro, Mike.
Thank you for the question. So, as I mentioned, there are some medical conditions that you can get medical cannabis for. For those conditions, it is really, really helpful, especially for cancer patients, right? It can comfort them and it can keep them comfortable and just put them to sleep or something, right? If they're comfortable, they're able to sleep and they can, kind of escape the pain a little bit. So, for certain conditions, cannabis is really helpful. But one thing I want to focus on right now is the cannabis has changed. The saying that it's not your grandmother's cannabis anymore. That's a saying we hear all the time. It is often used to describe that there has been significant increases in the potency of cannabis products available today compared to what was available in the past. Like in the past, people might have used cannabis a little bit and then they stopped, and now they want to, start back again because of some medical conditions or something. They have to be very careful around around the product because they are extremely potent because of modern, I would say, modern cultivation techniques, breeding techniques. Cannabis has changed a lot. Like, for example, 10% THC is considered high THC, or like the level of THC that is safe the most safest level of THC, but there are cannabis products with THC that is 90%, 92%. That is not safe at all. Those can cause adverse reactions, and those can cause some adverse situations where people experience hallucinations, paranoia, psychosis, and then that can make people super sick. And we've had situations where people called 911, went to the ER because they overconsumed cannabis, and overconsumption of cannabis is very real. It happens a lot.
Yes, it does. And it's real, and it does not feel good, everybody. And
No,
one of the things, Sadia, I want to pause for a moment, because I'm sitting here thinking, when you said that 90 something percent, I'm like, wait a minute. So someone who's used to smoking this amount, and you think that you can take that same amount that's 92% and put it in, like, you're going to end up in a hospital. You're going to end up in an ER. You're going to end up sick.
Probably that happens. One of my friends, what happened, I just want to share a personal story. They bought a Rice Krispie, right, off of one of the sticker shops, and they ate almost half of it. That Rice Krispie was 300 milligrams, and he ate almost 150 milligrams of it. And he was used to cannabis, right? He's not new to cannabis. He uses it, he smokes it, takes edibles, and no problem with it. But 150 is too much for even an adult. So that's when he called 911. He was taken to the ER, and it was just a lot of panic and paranoia, right? We don't want that. We want people to have a smooth and good experience with cannabis if they're using it. Therefore, it's important that we take into consideration the effects of cannabis, the potency of the product. Therefore, it's important that we know what's good for us, what's bad for us, what's dangerous. That's why I want to share a resource with the viewers. That is the Office of Cannabis Management website. That website is a fantastic resource for people who are trying to learn about what can be safe, what can be unsafe. One of the other resource I want to share is our bud tenders at the legalized dispensaries. Like, the bud tenders are very much knowledgeable. If you are trying to get into cannabis, if you are, trying to, I guess, re-engage with cannabis use because you used cannabis in the past and now you want to start back up again because of some medical conditions or depression, anxiety, whatever the situation might be, or just recreational purposes, it's important that we know what's safe and what is unsafe. Those open conversations is very important. That is the correct website, cannabis.ny.gov, for the Office of Cannabis Management. Yes.
Okay. Now, what about teenagers? And I know we talked a little bit about that, but teenagers, parents, caregivers. I know some people who are caregivers who have finding benefits in, providing, their loved one THC or flower, or whatever, the cannabis. There's benefits again. How do you prepare them, or what benefit, or how would you suggest that they move forward, or what information would you be able to give them?
For teenagers, adolescents, my recommendation is to not use cannabis because of the unpredictable situations that can occur. Moreover, we already discussed the psychosis, and that is more, visible among the young people, and it's more permanent among the young people. Moreover, there are a lot of studies that say that people who start smoking cannabis or start using cannabis at a lower age or at the teenager adolescent period, they perform worse academically compared to their peers who do not use cannabis. It is not safe for young people, so the recommendation is to not use it. However, for certain medical conditions, if you are to use it, go the medical cannabis route. Don't just go to a smoke shop and buy cannabis and gift it to a young child. The recommendation is go see a doctor who can provide you with some guidance, with some knowledge and education that this is safe, this is not safe, and then take that medical cannabis card to a legal dispensary where the bud tenders would know what's safe levels for a teenager, what's unsafe levels for a teenager, and that way they can use the substances safely. right?
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, there are also findings that say because of cannabis use in adolescence and continued use in use for years, that can result in decline in IQ because of those receptors that I explained in a few minutes back, because the receptors are situated in those areas of brain that is responsible for learning. So that also causes a decline in IQ. Sometimes brain development is also, we were talking about brain development in adolescence. All of these effects can be dangerous for the child and their future. So
Mm-hmm.
the recommendation I say is to avoid it. And if you want to use it for medical situations or any medical reasons, go to a legalized dispensary. And one other thing I want to encourage for parents, caregivers, teachers is to have those open conversations. It's not a stigmatized topic anymore. We have to make this less stigmatized topic. And the more we talk about it, the more we make it a dinner table conversation, the more people will know that what is safe for them, what is unsafe for them. People will avoid experimenting, right, with stuff that might not be safe 100%.
Yeah.
So those open conversations are very much encouraged.
It's I know I grew up during a time where we were taught that you speak when spoken to, come when called, and it may be difficult for some of us to have those open conversations. But I always rather it be open in my house than my kids go out and ask questions to other kids who may be getting, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I remember what it was like for me as a child, and a lot of times I got information from other kids, and instead of your child, because it's bound to happen, everybody. It's bound to happen, especially in today's climate. It's just so, everything is just so readily accessible to these kids. We have TikTok, we have all of these different social media platforms. It's out there. You'll be amazed. I told the story, I believe it was last year on the morning show podcast, where a loved one of my loved ones, experimenting with the cannabis, ended up in the ER, experiment. But it's because we don't have these conversations, or we make it where it's so bad that they're scared to come to us and have these conversations. So it's really, really important that we start this open dialogue. What would the health department, or does the health department have any type of coaching program, or to start the open dialogue for some of these parents? Because unfortunately, communication is not key for a lot of us. It's difficult for some of us to have an open dialogue with our kids, because we want to, just parent them. And we want to tell them, don't do it, but that's not the reality. So is there anything that the health department has to help parents out with that?
We have a cannabis training that kind of dives into all of the factors that the parents would need to know in order to speak with their children about cannabis. So I recommend if people reach out to us if they are interested in those trainings. You already have my information. People can directly reach out to me or our website, or our emails, which is harm.reduction@erie.gov. People can reach out there and ask for one of those training sessions where we educate the parents, caregivers, and everybody about what cannabis is, what are the effects of it, what is safe, what is unsafe, so that knowledge can help parents and caregivers to have those conversations. But we currently don't have a coaching program where we teach people how to start that conversation, or how to have those conversations in a healthy manner, and not make it well, more difficult to talk about, right? So we don't have that currently, but that is a very good idea. Thank you for giving that to me. I will probably start something along the lines with that.
Yeah, because like Rachel said, education is key, and it can be so taboo. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. I do apologize. I'm trying to put it on mute. They didn't got the little grand dog off going. Yeah, we have to be open. Bro Mike said yes, definitely correct, because I see all the smoke shops being shut down. He's talking about the illegal ones, and that's happening too. It seems like it's more. Okay, Pano. Okay, baby. it seems as if it's more accessible to people, or even more affordable, if I'm being honest,
Mhm.
because New York State, I mean, they're going to tax. They're going to
Yep.
tax. And a lot of people can't afford to pay that. So they're going to go to, like Bro Mike is saying, some of these smoke shops, but they're being shut down as well. I, I'm a parent that finds, cannabis in my child's book bag. What would you suggest to that parent, for that parent to do?
Maybe when you find something, the punitive route is something you don't want to take, right? You don't want to punish them for it. They were probably curious about it, and that's why they're starting it. Or they might have a reason behind starting using cannabis, or just kind of just visiting cannabis just a little bit. They're curious, or they just want to see how it is for a little bit, or their friends are trying it out. So my again, I'm just repeating what I said, but open
No,
conversation.
you're fine. I
Have a
love this. Thank
conversation
you.
with the child that what is the reason behind you starting it? Whatever the reason behind it, there might be a better way to regulate the use, or there might be a better way to use cannabis or not use cannabis. Parents can have those conversations that this is not safe for you because of these are the consequences. This might lower your IQ, this might cause psychosis, this might cause paranoia, hallucinations. That is why I'm saying you don't do it right now. Maybe do it after a certain age. Just like alcohol, right? We say that
Mhm.
don't use it until you're 21. After 21, you can use alcohol, no problem. And but do it in a safe and healthy manner. We want cannabis to become like alcohol or cigarettes, where people are using it if they need to, but they're not driving while under the influence. They're not doing it in an unsafe manner. People are safe around it. So
Mhm.
we want cannabis to become that. So if you find something in your child's book bag, the recommendation is have a conversation with your child that what is the reason behind you starting the use of cannabis at this age? Do you have any medical situation that you are trying to resolve? Is it depression? Is it anxiety? Are you not able to sleep? Are there alternatives to it that we can find that works for both of us? So having those conversations can make it a safe place, and the child would be open, right? They would say that this might be for this reason, or this might be because my friends are trying it out, so I just wanted to try it out because my friends are trying, right? So maybe you can have that conversation, and the child can go and educate their peers about it. That way you can reach a lot more people, and encourage the safer use, encourage the open conversation. And the more knowledge you have about it, the more you're going to be safe around it.
Thank you, Sadia.
You're
Is there
welcome.
anything else? Because I don't want to keep you for too long. I appreciate you coming on today, and you are welcome back anytime if there's anything new that you want to inform us on, or laws changing or anything like that. This is an open platform for you. Just let me know, Kyra. Let me know. But is there anything that you would like to, in closing, provide to the listeners of the Vet Green Show, or any additional information, guidance? Because I'm thinking, as a parent, just because the accessibility is crazy right now, and I'm thinking that people are going to go to these smoke shops, these corner store
Mhm.
smoke shops. There's going to be Sour Patch Kids that aren't really Sour Patch Kids, and these are real issues that parents are going to be facing. But at the same time, we want them to have, like Rachel said, an open dialogue, and
Mhm.
keeping in mind also harm reduction, all of those things. What would you offer to the listeners?
One thing I would say, maybe talk with your child about looking out for the signs. For most of the packaging, there's that little 3-leaf sign in the corner somewhere that says it has cannabis. So look out for that. If it has that, that might be an adult product, and you might not want to
Mhm.
use it, right? So that accidental consumption can be prevented. One last thing that I want to talk to my viewers about, or our viewers about, is the fentanyl contamination.
Yes.
There has been significant misinformation about fentanyl contamination in cannabis products. And however, there is no credible evidence. There is no credible resource or any source or news or anything that says that it is real. So far, we don't have any proof or any proof basically that, or any evidence that cannabis is being contaminated with fentanyl. There are some reasons behind it. While fentanyl is definitely being contaminated into other products, for example, cocaine, methamphetamine, all of these are being contaminated with fentanyl, but not cannabis. One of the thing I would say is no major government health agency has identified fentanyl laced cannabis as a widespread health risk. There is misconceptions about it, misinformation about it, because a lot of the times what happens is it is easier to say that, oh, I was using cannabis and I don't know what happened and I overdosed, than saying I was choosing to use an opioid, because opioids are much more stigmatized than cannabis is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is one reason. Moreover, fentanyl, what happens is when it's taken, when it's an edible, that's what we're thinking about. Like flowers, you can sprinkle some fentanyl on top, but it will be very much visible that there's a white powder on top of my flower, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's not really happening. And when you smoke it, you burn it at a certain temperature that doesn't reach the fentanyl burning temperature. So that's why fentanyl and cannabis contamination is very, very unlikely.
Oh, okay.
Vape can also
Because
don't.
I remember we talked about it too
Mhm.
on the morning show podcast, that was a thing that was going on. So I was surprised when Kyra, that was a question that I had asked as well. I want to now this is good. Now Big Mike has said, I think if the distilleries and the smoke shops had this information, it would be more safer. Now I'm guessing one of the reasons they don't, at least the smoke shops, is because a lot of these smoke shops aren't really legal. But it would make sense if they were provided, because they're going to be there, right,
Mhm.
Sadia? These smoke shops are going to keep popping up.
Yes, yes.
Why not try and collaborate with them to at least provide their customers with that information?
That is definitely one of our goals that we want to. We're trying to find a way to kind of reach out and talk to them, talk to the dispensaries. Well, we have connections with the dispensaries, the legalized ones already, but the smoke shops, it is also hard for us to get those conversations in, because
Mhm.
when we say we're from the health department, that kind of restricts a lot of those conversations, right?
Yeah.
So that is also, that's one of the barriers that we see when we're trying to reach out to the smoke shops or the corner stores that are selling these products. They'll probably say, no, we don't sell it, or they'll probably, because of the legal consequences, we also cannot openly communicate with them or encourage them that this is what you should do, this is what you should not do, because they're not legalized, right? So that also limits our abilities as well.
Yeah. What about the reservations? Like out in Western New York, there's a lot of reservations, and a lot of the smoke shops are getting from the reservations and
Mhm.
bringing it back here. So what about the reservations? Are you all targeting them at all? Or are they not involved at all?
So they are outside of the New York State cannabis management jurisdiction.
That's
So
what I
they don't necessarily have to follow the cannabis management laws and all of that. So they can
Mhm.
produce their products, which can be very much stronger. Their products can be more potent. So that is also something we're struggling with. You know, it's something I'm going to admit that we are struggling with the dispensaries, how we can reach out to them and how we can work with them. But
Mhm.
that is also, that is one of the shortcomings that we have a little bit, because they are outside of the New York State jurisdiction. It makes it a little more difficult for us to reach out to them.
Yeah. As I'm sitting here just listening, and just thinking myself that I'm thinking about a lot of the inner city, um, we really need to start informing ourselves. We really need to start doing our own due diligence and not just listening to the rhetoric, because it was, I mean, everybody thought, oh, it's fentanyl in the weed now, and in the flowers now, or even as far as the management of it, just knowing the benefits of it, and having the open dialogue, now, what about the schools at all? Are they being targeted? Because I know the adolescents, you don't want the kids using, but the reality is it's going to happen. So is Erie County looking at the schools at all, or
We
trying
are.
to work with the schools?
We are trying to work with the schools. We provide trainings and education on cannabis use, what's safe, what's unsafe. We don't, as the Office of Harm Reduction, we don't ask people to do something or not do something. We're here to provide the information, right? So we do that. We go to schools and do presentations and trainings on cannabis and what's good for them, what's bad for them, what's the age that they should kind of not use it until, what's the age that it's safe for them to use cannabis, all of that.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, Sadia, I appreciate you coming on this morning. I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. If you have a topic that you would like someone from the Erie County Department of Health to come on and talk about, I love that you all make your resources available. Sadia, Kyra, everybody, I really love that you are open to this, because it's the dialogue that's going to change our way of thinking around this entire harm reduction thing, because addiction is real. Many of us know people who have struggled with various addictions, and I love the harm reduction team. I love what you guys are doing, and you are welcome back to this platform. Is there anything else that you would like to give the listeners as we are closing out? Thank you, everybody, for listening today.
Just want to share some of the resources. The Office of Cannabis Management did a fantastic resource, cannabis.ny.gov. You can also visit our website, erie.gov/cannabis. And if you have any questions, concerns, please let us know. Our phone number is 716-858-7695. And you can send us an email also at harm.reduction@erie.gov. So with that, I want to thank everyone for being here, and thank you so much, Vet, for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you, Sadia. Thank you all so much. And this has been another episode of the Vet Green Show. We will be back tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you enjoyed this. This is all about providing information, guidance, and awareness, because what I've realized in my own journey is that people are going to do what they want to do. At the end of the day, if we provide them with the tools and the guidance and the knowledge, and open up a dialogue to at least start a conversation, we can change things in this thing called life. We can change some things. So thank you again, Sadia. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful wherever you are on purpose. We are going to leave out of here today with some Nequasia. Everybody, enjoy your day. Be safe out there. Be safe, be safe, be safe. We're going to have DJ Rewind by Nequasia.
Rewind. work the middle, babe. You work me. Move slow, yeah. You feel me? No cookie, but I like the way you turn me on. I may have to change my mind, baby. Take you home. Twist it back, pop, pop, get a text. Hot and bothered all kinds of ways. Hot and bothered, hot and bothered. Your hands feeling all over me.
We hope you enjoyed the show. This is a Green Links Media production, and we thank you for watching. We are here every Monday through Friday beginning at 9 a.m., so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell while you're at it. Love you long life.